A new law is about to pass in Europe that gives the government the power to take 36% of your money every year, even if you don't sell your assets. As it's insane as this sound, let's not forget, we got proof that this could be spreading to the world, even in America. I'm not making this up. So let me try to explain how this insane new law now makes it impossible for you to have savings or even build wealth, guys. It is absolutely. We're in peak clown world at this point. So let me break this down for you guys if you aren't aware of what's going on. Well, in the Netherlands, which is a part of the EU, and we've heard essentially what Christine Lagarde's been saying for a long time. They've been trying to tax everything. They're trying to stop the creation of wealth. They want to tax the rich, tax the billionaires, because they think that is what's going to save them. Well, Dutch lawmakers, here's from Yahoo, Dutch lawmakers advanced 36% capital gains tax on crypto. You heard that right. The Netherlands wants to tax 36% of your paper gains on your Bitcoin. And I will break down kind of the mechanics of this and how, in my opinion, this just might be the dumbest law ever. If they think this is going to save them, it's going to, in fact, do the opposite. We actually have some, I don't know, pilot programs like this that we've seen play out in Europe, not necessarily in the EU, and it does the exact opposite of what they think it's going to do. So let me, break down this article real quick, and then I got a lot of good tweets for you guys. So critics warn the proposal could trigger investor relocation and capital outflows, which in fact, it's not just critics. That's exactly what it will do. So lawmakers in the Netherlands have taken a major step towards reshaping how digital assets are taxed. The country's House of Representatives voted last Thursday, to advance legislation introducing a 36% capital gains tax on savings and most liquid investments, including cryptocurrencies. Again, this isn't just a tax if you sell. This isn't long-term capital gains. This is essentially an unrealized capital gains tax. So if you're holding something and it goes up in price, even if you don't sell it, you still are liable to pay tax on top of it. If you think this is a good idea, it's really not. Anyways, the proposal cleared the chamber comfortably, receiving 93 votes, well above the 75 required to move forward, according to the official tally. Now, this isn't fully approved yet. It has to have one final approval, and then this is actually law in the Netherlands. And a lot of Bitcoiners or, crypto advocates on Twitter came out and they're showing this is really going to hurt the country way more than what the proposed benefits are going to be. Again, if adopted, the measure would apply broadly. Bank savings, crypto holdings, most equities, and returns generated from interest-bearing instruments would all fall under the levy. So this isn't just a crypto tax. It's basically a broad, unrealized capital gains tax. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Notably, the tax would be assessed regardless of whether investors actually sell their assets, meaning, again, it's an unrealized gains tax. That's what it is. Maybe they're not necessarily calling that. That's what this is. So it still needs to be approved. And if it does get approved, the implementation year will be 2028. Let's hope that there's, what's the saying? Let's hope that they snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, or rather, maybe they snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, because this is just bad. This is just bad news altogether. Now, I know our audience is super American based. We are Americans. We're American focused, but it's really the precedent, as we've been covering for a long time. Usually you can look at what happens in the European Union, in the EU. I know there's a divide right now. I know there is kind of a war going on between the United States and the European Union. We've heard what Christine Lagarde's been saying, but historically, Europe has been a test bed for a lot of ideas that they do want to spread across the world. This is why our friend Tom Luongo usually says that if you look at what happens in Europe, you can really kind of attribute this to this idea, this label of the Davos crowd or the World Economic Forum crowd. And they use it as a test bed to implement these ideas. And if they are quote unquote successful, then they have somewhere to point and be like, look, this is good for all countries. Maybe all Western countries need to follow suit, do the same thing, because look how good this is for us. Now, let's get into some of the math here. Again, a lot of people, actually, we're going to start with a meme. We're going to basically start with a troll here. He goes, this is X Freeze. He goes, be me, a Dutch investor. Netherlands approved a 36% unrealized gains tax. WTF does that even mean? So here is in practice how this will play out. And this will really illustrate just how bad of an idea this is. And really, a lot of wealth is going to most likely leave Netherlands. Now, if the rest of the EU follows suit, then we'll see a lot of capital flight leave Europe. So here he goes. He goes, put $1,000 into stocks. Year one, your stock goes to $2,000. The government, you made $1,000, so pay $360 cash. My feeling when I didn't sell anything. So I'm forced to sell shares to pay this $360 tax, this 36% tax. Everyone else is forced to sell too. This causes panic selling, mass panic selling. Stock crashes to $880, and now I have $440 left after paying tax. Year two, the stock recovers at $1,200. The government says you made $400, now pay $144. Again, another forced selling happens. Price drops to $900. I have $756 left. Year three, similar. Stock at $1,000. You made $100, paid $36. Smart money has finally left the Netherlands, and I have $964 in stocks. My feeling when I paid $540 in taxes. My feeling when stock is back to where it started, a 0% gain. My feeling when I only have $460 left. The TLDR, the short of it, I lost 54% on a stock that broke even. The government made more money off my invested than I did. Thanks. And the government just says, thanks, man. Thanks for half of all the money that you kind of had. And of course, here's a little meme, you know, the Pepe frog crying in the Netherlands. And of course, it's talking about the House of Representatives approving this 36% unrealized capital gains tax. It really makes no sense. Now, the kind of cultural angle of this is they're saying, hey, we need to tax the rich. The rich need to pay their fair share. When in reality, you look at usually the numbers of who actually pays the most tax, and it is, in fact, the extremely wealthy. Yes, they have tax benefits. Yes, they have lawyers. And yes, they can do tax loopholes. But still, the billionaires, the rich people pay the majority of the taxes, even with all the loopholes. Because they have more money, most of the money comes from them. Okay, so as you can see, this is a dumb idea. I don't know how they think this is a good idea. I don't know what they're thinking. Actually, I do know what they're thinking. They have a very collectivist ideology. Tax the rich are stealing from us. The oppressed are never going to get up in life. But in reality, in practice, this basically means there will be no social mobility. You will never be able to get from a lower class or a middle class to an upper class because you're never going to be able to save wealth. If you are holding something, and as we know, they're going to print a lot of money. This is what's going to happen. Your purchasing power in fiat currencies will get debased. So you can't hold dollars to get rich. There's no way of saving your way out of this if you're holding fiat currencies. The only way to win or to really play the game, as we've been covering for years now, is you need to buy assets. Well, if you're having an unrealized unrealized gain tax on your assets, you can't build wealth. It really will destroy the Netherlands. So let's see if they wake up a little bit here. And here we got Max Kaiser. He goes, neo-feudalism. It's like they don't want you to build wealth. It's absolutely crazy. Now, we have another Dutch investor, or, you know, another person that is Dutch in the Netherlands, and they're going further. You know, they're breaking this down. But this is where it gets interesting. I know a lot of people, I actually saw one comment in the chat. It's like, hey, good thing this is in Europe and not in the United States. Well, this is where it does probably get a little more scary, a little more nefarious, where this isn't going to be an isolated event. Yes, it is in the Netherlands. Yes, they will gloriously fail doing this, but this will be used, as we've seen in the past, as an example of, oh, this is what we need to do everywhere else. And of course, he says it pretty good here, right here. Where was it? Or am I thinking of a different tweet? I might be thinking of a different tweet. Yeah. Anyways, so he breaks this down. I was thinking of a different tweet. Oh, it's this one. It was this one. Okay. So Akash Gupta, he does the same thing, breaks this down, shows you what the unrealized capital gains tax is going to be. But this is where it gets interesting, because this matters for the U.S. because unrealized gains taxation keeps resurfacing in American policy proposals. California has a wealth tax ballot initiative that's already triggered an estimated $2 trillion in capital flight. The Biden administration proposed taxing unrealized gains above $100 million. The Netherlands is about to become the first country to broadly implement one at scale. France spent 20 years proving this model fails. The Netherlands is about to rerun the experiment at 36%. And we do have other examples of this happening in Europe not that long ago. Guys, this is an idea that people float around, that this is a good thing. And if you kind of think about where we are politically, oh, sorry, I didn't pull it up. If you think of where we are politically right now, the Trump administration, the Republicans are losing a lot of favor. The Democrats get back in. I've heard rumors that they might run Kamala Harris and AOC as president and vice president. And we know some of the policies that AOC has championed. We know what Kamala Harris is kind of about. So this isn't going to be an isolated event. Yes, I don't think it will necessarily spread everywhere, but it will be used as a precedent. Now, here's Peter Todd, and he goes forth, quote, the Netherlands had a 2.3 billion euro budget hole. Their 2026 budget was planning on spending 7 billion euros on refugees, not including Ukraine, plus tens of billions more in indirect costs. It's trivial to fix this by closing the borders to the worst people in the world. Now, Peter Todd has his own political views here. I don't necessarily agree with them. But again, if you really get into the details here, they're basically like the real fix is probably for them close your borders and not tax the rich, unrealized cap gains or unrealized gains tax. In reality, they're like, we're just going to tax the billionaires. That they'll get us out of this hole. I don't think they understand how economics works, especially in a world now that is more mobile, that you can have a money that isn't stuck in one jurisdiction. A lot of people are still working on old paradigms of how the world works. Now, going further, as I was saying, there is a semi-current example of this playing out 2 years ago. Norway tried to do the same thing. Now, Norway isn't in the EU, but they are a European country. They are a European adjacent country. And they tried to do something similar at a very small scale, and it completely backfired. So we don't have to look into the past or that far past to really understand how this is going to play out. Again, it just needs one final approval. If this goes through, in the Netherlands, there's going to be capital flight. Here is from The Guardian. It goes, super rich abandoning Norway at record rate as wealth tax rises slightly. How about that framing? Unrealized gains tax rises slightly. Don't worry, it's not even that big of one. In fact, though, a lot of people left. Flood moving abroad has come as a shock and is costing tens of millions in lost tax receipts. Now, here's a good example of what exactly happened. So Norway wealth tax increase was expected to raise $146 million. And in fact, it led to a $448 million net loss as $54 billion in wealth left the country, reducing the tax revenue by $594 million. It's actually incredible how some collectivists, left-leaning politicians, progressive ideologies around, economics and taxation, it really is staggering how they don't look at reality, how they completely ignore reality. Again, they thought it was going to, and this is exactly what the Netherlands are thinking. This is exactly what the Dutch are thinking. It's like, hey, we need some money. What if we do an unrealized tax gains? We tax all the billionaires. We tax all the wealthy people. This is how we can make up this deficit in our balance sheet. In fact, it's most likely going to push the extremely wealthy out of the country, but really it's going to hurt the very people that they expect to help, which is the lower end middle class. If you are in an average job or an average position, you're literally not going to be able to build wealth. And we have a pretty good chart here to show exactly how this works out. This is the destruction of long-term investing. Implication of the new Dutch capital tax. Current tax is 3.3 million. The new tax is 1.9 million. Assuming 10% gross annual returns, $10,000 starting capital and investing $1,000 every month, you're going to be cooked. You're literally losing half of your gains. So, do they like economics? Do they ignore economics? Well, it doesn't really matter as long as the narrative is, hey, we are going to tax the billionaires, we're going to tax the rich, and the people go along with it. If the people think this is the way for them to get out of their destitute poverty or even just their middle class situation, then they're most likely going to do that. Now, I did start this by telling you this isn't just happening in Europe. I have been very vocal about this on the show constantly. Like, I am so glad that I'm an American because I don't have to deal with the crazy economic policies of Europe. Well, it's not just happening in Europe. This isn't an isolated event to the EU. We are hearing these conversations in America. And like I said, there is rumors that the 2028 Democrat ticket is going to be Kamala Harris and AOC. So let's hear what AOC just said last week. Sounds eerily familiar to what we're seeing the Dutch do.
So when you run for president, are you going to impose a wealth tax or a billionaire's tax?
I don't think that I don't think that anyone, and that we don't have to wait for any one president to impose a wealth tax. I think that it needs to be done expeditiously.
And interestingly, when I wrote about wealth tax recently, and of course the big argument against this is always capital flight, the US is actually uniquely placed to do it because you guys tax on the basis of citizenship, so people can't flee, you know? And even if you change your citizenship, there's basically an exit tax because you have to pay a tax on unrealized capital gains.
The glee in their voice is absolutely insane. I was talking with Luke this morning. He's like, man, the absolute evil of these people. And I'm like, they're just dumb. And he's like, we were arguing, like, what's the difference? Are they evil or do they not know how this works? And I'm like, I was trying to make the case, like, being dumb could be just as evil. Maybe I'm being giving them a little leeway of they don't know what they're doing, but I do in fact think that they do know what they're doing. They literally want to steal your wealth. This is asset forfeiture. This is asset confiscation, just in a quote, sly roundabout way. They're talking about this constantly. Now, I do have one other clip here that just happened from, it's called, I don't know what Patriotic Millionaires is, but this was a lady speaking at the IMF. And let's listen to what she says. Actually, guys, I didn't upload this because I want you guys to see the whole thing. So let me know if you hear this. But you're starting to hear a lot of similar conversations, and they don't have funny European accents. They have actually American accents. So you're seeing that this idea, this narrative, this very bad economic policy is spreading around the world. As we start to, for better or worse, see that the American empire is struggling. I don't know if you guys caught the Ray Dalio article over the weekend, but he quoted one of his one of his chapters from his recent book. And he basically said the international rules-based order has crumbled. And he basically was saying when we are in this stage 6 decline of an empire, usually the pendulum swings more to a populist movement, whether that's left or right. We're seeing a lot of these conversations happen in the U.S. And here is, again, this lady speaking. They're called Patriotic Millionaires. I don't know exactly what that is, but they're speaking at the IMF. Now, let's listen to what she's saying.
We actually have a beautiful opportunity in front of us with the United States being such an unmitigated disaster as it currently is. Okay, so there is the opportunity, and within that opportunity, I would suggest three things. The first one, we have to have a global asset registry. We have to know who has the freaking money. And if they don't want you to know that they have the money or how much money they have, chances are they got it from somewhere they shouldn't have gotten it from, and they're spending it on something they shouldn't be spending it from. So number one, a global asset registry. Number two, we have to facilitate an international conversation about what is enough. And that if there is a number that is enough, there is a number that is too much. We believe that money becomes power, and when power threatens your democracy, you have to take away power, and the only way to take away that power is by taking away the money. And the only way to take away the money is taxation. So number three, forget progressivity. All right? Forget progressivity, unless by progressivity you mean taxation that makes people less rich. This is not about a 2% wealth tax when somebody's getting a higher return than that. This is about taxation in order to preserve human freedom, to preserve the...
Absolutely nuts. How about that last part? This, like, the mask is off now, right? She did try to, at the very end, cover up this idea with, like, we're here to preserve humanity, preserve the planet. But the part before it, she's like, this isn't about taxation for you to pay your fair share. She's like, this is about taxation to make you less rich. At least they're finally saying the quiet parts out loud. Now, to recap, what did she say? First, we need a global asset registry. Everyone on planet Earth we need to know exactly what they hold. Second, we need to tax you. And third, we got to have some conversation globally, internationally, and say, hey, after this number, that is too much money, and you shouldn't be able to make that much money. It's absolutely insane what's going on. Like, how do these people think that this makes sense? Or rather, how do the people listening to her think that this makes sense? But as you can see, this is exactly what the Netherlands are doing. They're going to tag and bag everyone's assets, not just Bitcoin, but all your assets. They will do a yearly unrealized capital gains tax on it. You got to pay your fair share because you're getting richer, and you got to help all these new people coming to your country or all these poor people in your country. And it's like, whoa. So they are very clearly saying, hey, you don't have a right to build wealth because you're a bad guy. Wanting wealth is bad. Whereas from our perspective, we take the opposite view. They think that they can tax their way out of their problems. Like, hey, our ideology is correct. It's just the economic policies that are wrong. That's the only thing that's wrong here. And if we just did more to take from you, then we could all live better together. From a Bitcoiner's perspective, we think completely different. First of all, property rights. Second of all, a store of value that they can't devalue, that they can't steal from you. And third of all, obviously, personal sovereignty, where in this, so you could break that down to what? Individualism, capitalism, and to some extent, I guess, democracy. From their view, it's like autocratic, collectivist, and no capitalism at all. Just take everything you got. Like, hey, if you want to work more, cool, but you got to pay your fair share. It's like, how is this where we are in 2026? You think people would get smarter. This has been tried multiple times around history. It always ends in failure, and they just continue to double down on it. Never do they look at their ideology and realize that they're wrong, that they have fundamental broken first principles. They're always like, no, we just didn't do it correctly. You know, if the 1.1% tax didn't work in Norway, well, maybe we just need to tax them more. We just got to tax them 36%. And then it'll get to, hey, maybe we got to tax them 50%. And then it'll get to, hey, you don't even deserve to own assets. All of your assets are now the state's assets, and we can, centrally plan everything better. It's like, what in the world is going on? Like, I'm surprised that people are actually out here saying this stuff. We've seen this play out in the past and it never works. Though, I guess one silver lining of this is as these unrealized capital gains tax conversations happen and more people realize that, wait, these might actually get passed into law and they understand the ramifications of, wow, I will literally never be able to build wealth again. I'm either going to be, middle class forever. Rather, that's not even how to work out. I'm either going to start at middle class and end up to lower class, or I am lower class and I'm never going to get up out of my position. The incentives are all broken. But as these conversations happen, obviously people with the means will find ways to avoid them. They will take their capital. They will put it in an asset that they can't steal. They will take their capital, all of their savings, and put it in an asset that's a lot more mobile that they can't tax, which is obviously, from our opinion, Bitcoin. It's absolutely nuts, but maybe through all of this, people start to see the light that, hey, this is absolutely insane. Like, what are we doing here? And the fact that this is happening right now, and people are saying these things like with serious, with just any ounce of seriousness, just makes you kind of go into that idea of you may not care about politics, but politics cares about you. Or the other Plato one where it's like, you may not care about politics, but by you not caring about politics, that means an inferior person will rule over you. We're getting to a point where something will hit the fan. Something will have to break. And I that's why I've kind of been saying for the last couple of weeks, and I have actually, I've been going back and forth on this idea, but it makes me think that a lot of us, especially in the Bitcoin community, are doing ourselves and our friends and family a disservice by having this idea. It's like, oh, I just want to have a farm, opt out, not care about society, let it burn to the ground, and I'll be good in my farm over here. It's like, I'm an accelerationist myself. But if you are in a position where you can get involved, where you can run for, I don't know, local, city, state, governmental positions, or get into certain institutions and you will win, I think us Bitcoiners do need to have a little more fire in us and be like, I am going to get involved. Now, obviously, I'm a talking head, so yes, maybe I'm chastising everyone. I think this is the only role I can do, is just talking about these things, highlighting them, and opining on them. Like, this is a talk show. I'm here to just give you my opinion. If you agree with me, awesome. Let's just continue to spread these ideas. If you disagree with me, I'll see the feedback and we'll see if there's any merit in your thinking. But we've seen these economic plans play out. They never end in a utopia, because we would already be living one. They actually usually end in despair for millions of people, and worse. The Netherlands, I hate to say it, if you're Dutch, I would be super angry, but the Netherlands is most likely going to be cooked if this passes. Again, it needs to get final approval. But what is scary is if this does pass in the Netherlands, obviously they don't have the biggest economy, but other EU countries will also most likely try to follow suit. And if the EU just goes full unrealized capital gains tax, the capital flight out of the EU will be insane. It will be monumental. The flight to Bitcoin, or the flight to something like Bitcoin, maybe people want to buy gold, but then it's hard to kind of get out of your country with it. It's going to be massive. We are definitely in one of the most interesting times to be alive. This is a pivotal moment in history right now. With everything we're seeing, whether you're on the left or the right, it is a very interesting time to be alive. Now, most people in positions of power, most people that have been around for a long time, they still have old thinking. Bitcoin will fundamentally throw a wrench in their plans. Just not enough people are using Bitcoin yet. but it will fundamentally shift this whole ideology. It will. I think it will. It will basically end all of these plans if enough people get into Bitcoin. So this is where we are, man. It's not just one of those things where we're on the show talking about it hypothetically. Like, this might actually get passed. This might actually be a reality in Europe. It's absolutely nuts. Norway tried. It failed. In other countries, like, they didn't tax enough. We'll try it again. And it's actually an EU country. Absolutely cooked. That's why I'm like, look, I'm super glad to be an American. I'm not a huge fan of AOC. I don't think she's going to win. I don't even think they'll be able to get her to run. But there is a lot of people that don't believe the things that I believe, that don't see the world like I believe. And that is terrifying. Anyways, for turning stuff for reals, bro. For reals. Big facts. All right, guys. For the rest of the show, I got a clip from a Blackrock manager. He is, you guys seen him, Robert Mitchnick. And he's making an interesting case about what's going on with the ETFs. I know we've been blaming the boomers buying the ETFs and hedge funds and stuff, but he's got a different take at Investors Week last week. And then I got a couple of news stories. The main one for me is the CFTC announced their committee. I forget what it's called. Let me get this up. It is the advisory committee members. They gave the whole list. And bros, it's not looking good. It's looking a lot like the shitcoinery is going to get caught up in the CFTC. The lobbying for shitcoins is going to go out of this world. And then, like I told you, I was going to do it on Friday, but we had a guest, last minute guest. So I'm going to do the meme review today, okay? Meme review Monday. It's on the table. So hang out towards the end of the show. We are going to have a couple of laughs. On that note, guys, I will be right back.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bitcoin Well Infinite. If you're a serious Bitcoin buyer, you've probably hit the same wall. Most platforms make you give up custody just to play by the rules. Bitcoin Well Infinite fixes that. They're North America's only publicly traded, non-custodial OTC desk listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, which means transparent operations and zero counterparty risk.
You buy Bitcoin, you take immediate control, period. For trades over $50,000, you get a dedicated executive Bitcoin advisor, competitive spread starting at 1%, and immediate delivery straight to your own wallet. No custody risk, no withdrawal fees, just institutional grade execution with full asset control. If you want to buy Bitcoin the right way, book a free consultation at bitcoinwell.com/OTC or email infinite@bitcoinwell.com.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, StampSeed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? StampSeed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo, and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on StampSeed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store.
All right, guys, the current Bitcoin price is $68,210, which is a 45.9% discount from all-time high. That's crazy. And the market cap still at 1.36 trillion. That's nuts. Okay, the block height, TikTok next block. The real universal time on planet Earth is the block height. It is currently at 936,948. Okay, so as I was telling you guys, Pop had Investors Week in New York. And there was some pretty good clips going around, but I like this clip from the BlackRock digital advisor, head of digital assets, Robert Mitchnick. And he's making an interesting case. I mean, we do kind of have to trust him, bro. I mean, you could look at the data, but it is an interesting case. And I know we have been, sorry, guys. The swatter's getting to me. He made an interesting case about who is actually selling the Bitcoin, what's going on in the market. So let's listen to this real quick. It's a short clip.
A misperception out there that like it's a bunch of hedge funds in ETFs that are creating volatility and selling. That's not what we're seeing. If you look at IBIT last week, on a week that was tumultuous, obviously, in the Bitcoin market, we had 0.2% of the fund redeem, right? So if there actually were hedge funds that were massively unwinding trades that they were running in the ETF, you would have seen billions out. We saw many billions liquidated on these levered perp platforms. The ETFs have been very steady. It's a much more long-term buy and hold type investor base.
Interesting take, though. It is one of those things of, okay, can I even say it? You know, drug dealer telling you the drugs are good kind of idea. Obviously, he's got an incentive to tell you, hey, the ETF buyers are in it for the long term. But if you look at the data, it is pretty on point. Like we haven't really seen too much outflows in the grand scheme coming out of the Bitcoin ETFs. Yes, there has been some selling. I saw it was about 6%, but said another way, about 94% of the Bitcoin or capital that went into the ETF, it was held. Or said another way, 94% of the, and I don't mean to just say boomers, guys. I know you guys yell at me when I say the boomers, but it's just an easy way to describe it. But 94% of the people, the institutional interest coming into Bitcoin through the ETFs, have held their Bitcoin. Now, Robert Mitchnick, did I say that right? Yeah, Robert Mitchnick. He's making the case that in the last week when we dumped to 60K, they only saw 0.2% redeemed. So the majority of people that were buying Bitcoin through the ETFs were hodling that Bitcoin through these dips, which is generally, I would say, a good thing to see, because it does mean that they're in this for the long run. Now, I know we've been arguing on the show. I've been arguing with you guys in the chat. I've been making the case that it does seem like the institutional investors buying into the Bitcoin ETFs are buying this thing for the long term. As we always like to say, incentives basically drive the world. They're incentivized to hold this long term. They're starting to understand what this Bitcoin thing is, and they're not just in it for the short term. Now, it could be because they know, hey, look, most ETF investors, like I'm investing for 5 to 10 years. This isn't about making, getting rich overnight. This isn't about getting rich in 1 year. They see the long-term trend of Bitcoin number go up. It's going up forever, Laura, all the memes. And they're not getting scared out, which is really good to see. Now, another interesting thing, he didn't really say it in that clip, but there has been a rumor that and most people are saying it's like a Hong Kong hedge fund basically, had to sell their ETFs because they got caught off sides, and then they wanted too long, and then they got liquidated. He kind of was saying that's not what he's seeing, though we are seeing a lot of liquidations going on right now. And again, remember who the main boss is at BlackRock. Larry Fink said this a couple of weeks ago. He's like, we love Bitcoin. It's not going away. The main problem with it is it's being run by the leveraged players, which is why I keep saying, like, it seems to me like they are trying to liquidate all of the leverage. Also, try to bring most of the capital onshore to the U.S. under U.S. rules, which means that most likely these banks, the BlackRocks, the JP Morgans of the world, will be the new Binances of the next era here. So he has also doubled down on that idea. It's like most of the selling that we are seeing is because of forced liquidations. People going long, people going short. They just get caught off sides. Cascading liquidations, which does make me think that the 60K drop was most likely just cascading liquidations, and it really got ahead of the market makers, or putting another kind of spin on this that we've been hearing a lot of rumors about. Maybe it was Binance getting a little overzealous. I know we covered it last week. They're like, yeah, we were going to buy $1 billion. We actually sold $1 billion. Sorry, guys. We didn't mean to do that. There was some kind of algorithmic issue. So maybe 60K was the bottom, guys. Now, I know we're going to dump right now after I said this because the algorithms are listening to me. But it does kind of make me think that drop to 60K was just a cascading, the market overcorrecting to the downside. And as you saw, yeah, we did bounce up. We're at like 68K. I don't know if you saw this morning. It did get as high as 70K this morning, and then it instantly dropped back down to 68K. So it's starting to, I don't know. I was talking to Luke again. Me and Luke have conversations almost every morning, and he's like, I don't know, man. I'm starting to get bullish again. And I'm like, yeah, what are you watching? He's like, well, it looks like equities are going to dump. And I'm like, I don't know. Wouldn't that make it not a bullish scenario for Bitcoin? If all the markets are dumping, we're going to get wrecked. But we'll see, guys. We'll see. Cheap sats are on the table. We get discounts. It's beautiful. Just keep buying, keep stacking, keep accumulating. This is the way, boys and girls. This is when legends are made. This is when you're going to look back and be like, I'm so glad I got a 60K Bitcoin, because now we're in the 6 figures very strongly. That's the bull case, guys. It's going up forever. Anyways, I'm going to cover a couple of news stories in this next ones, but I'm really going to dive into the CFTC stuff.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and Cash App. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY.
All right, guys. So last week we got the news that Twitter's going to do X money. There's been a lot of speculation on whether they're going to use Bitcoin or not. Is this going to end in failure like Libra? The meta move towards something similar. We'll see. We haven't got too much news coming out of that, but we do know they are doing quote unquote X money here very soon. Then we saw this, which is this is going to be a disaster, but hey, I guess it is news. We have Watcher Guru tweeting that X is to launch crypto and stock trading directly from the timeline within a couple of weeks. And I love this tweet here. The Sam Bankman-Fried, scared going into the courtroom. He goes, Jesus. So it looks like they are definitely leaning into Twitter being the everything app, a centralized place to make all of your financial decisions. And the initial reaction to this for me, at first you're kind of like, I guess that's pretty cool. Like I can put a Bitcoin cash tag on my timeline and it'll buy Bitcoin for me. Like, maybe that will reduce some friction. And then you really get into kind of the deeper probably thoughts of this, and you're like, oh my God, dude, the amount of degenerate trading that's going to happen just on the Twitter timeline. Like imagine you see a tweet thread about some shitcoin that's going to go 100x. You do a cash tag and you could just buy it. Dude, this is going to be insane in the worst way possible. This is going to be, people are going to get wrecked. It might be actually funny to watch. Not that I like people getting, losing their wealth and their life savings, but this is going to be atrocious. This is going to be insane. This is going to be some next level degeneracy going on the Twitter timeline. So they're doubling down on Twitter, or X being the X Money centralized money platform where you can do all of your financial decisions on one platform. And dude, this is just going to be, X is going to give it to you, bro. Oh man. There is maybe one more before I move on. There is maybe one more other wrinkle here. It is kind of an interesting thought experiment to think that, like, is this going to, if this catches on, if they do it in seemingly a safe way, quote unquote, will this minimize some of the volume on exchanges? Will people not go to, the shitcoin casinos, even the Bitcoin exchanges, if they could just buy their Bitcoin on the timeline? That is kind of an interesting thought experiment. So does that mean that the exchanges are basically going to lose some of their power here because of what Twitter's doing? I don't know. That's kind of like when instead of just trolling it, when I actually kind of like critically think about this, that's one of the thoughts where I'm like, I wonder if this will actually have some impact on the volume from exchanges. Like, are we going to be able to treat Twitter like an exchange now? You see what I'm saying? It's like, that is kind of an interesting thought experience. But again, my overriding, wow, the degeneracy is going to go absolutely apeshit. It's going to be nuts, man. This will nuke folks. 100% will nuke people. 100%. Okay. I don't mean to laugh. Maybe it's not as bad if I laugh before people get hurt. So people are like, oh, you're laughing at people that are losing their life savings. I'm laughing before it even gets implemented. Okay. I'm already calling it ridiculous. Now, pivoting a little bit. I'm going to pivot a little here. We did get an announcement from the CFTC, and they announced the Innovation Advisory Committee members. And the only reason I'm really talking about this is just to show how bad the list is, which really is doubling down on my view that a lot of this regulation is probably going to be very bad for Bitcoin, particularly, and most likely be a lot of shitcoin lobbying for specific shitcoins and a lot of degenerate trading. So these two stories do kind of go together. And of course, there has been a lot of talk on with this Clarity Act and with regulatory clarity, who actually will be overseeing Bitcoin or crypto or digital assets at large. For the longest time, it was the SEC. And then there was a little bit of conversation a few years ago towards the end of 2024, maybe the beginning of 2025, of who is better, which regulatory institution is better equipped to regulate Bitcoin? Is it the CFTC? Is it the SEC? You know, all of these institutions, they all essentially label Bitcoin in such a way that it's under their purview. And there has been a lot of debate on whether, hey, is the Clarity Act going to move the jurisdiction of Bitcoin under the CFTC, which is the Commodities Futures Trading Commission? You know, Bitcoin is a, quote, digital commodity. Or is it going to be under the SEC's purveyorship? Because of, you know, the idea that maybe it's an equity. As we've seen throughout the years, there has been this idea that Bitcoin is a commodity, but all the shit coins are equities. And then we got some lobbying and saying like, oh, ETH and I forget what other shit coin. It's like, oh, it doesn't fall under the Howey test, you know. And so you're starting to see that they really don't know how to categorize Bitcoin. It's almost reminds me of the 5 blind men touching an elephant. Each one touch a different part, and they're like, oh, it's this, it's this, it's this. And really, they're just making the rules so that they can put it under, you know, their guidance. Anyways, this is where it does get interesting. And since we are a Bitcoin only channel, we used to do the daily fail here where we just show just ridiculous shitcoinery happening and people failing. This could be a throwback to that. So CFTC, they just released this. Well, they released it last week, but it just started making the rounds. The CFTC announces Innovation Advisory Committee members. Washington. The CFTC today announced the members of the Innovation Advisory Committee. Quote, today marks an important and energizing moment at the CFTC as the Innovation Advisory Committee takes shape. The IAC's work will help ensure the CFTC's decisions reflect market realities so the agency can future-proof its markets and develop clear rules of the road for the golden age of American financial markets. Chairman Selig is the sponsor of this committee and nominated Michael Passalacqua as the committee's designated federal officer. The following individuals have been appointed as members of the AIC. Now, I'm not going to read everyone's name. I just want to read the organizations that are added to the Innovation Advisory Committee under the CFTC. We have Uniswap Labs, we have Coinbase, we have Rothera Markets, Poly Markets, A16Z, CBOE Global Markets, CME Group, Bullish, NASDAQ, Ripple, FanDuel, Bitnomial, FIA, Cauchy, Crypto, Anchorage Digital, Grayscale, Chainlink Labs, Paradigm, Etherealize, DraftKings, LSEG, Kraken, Blockchain.com, Framework Ventures, Intercontinental Exchange, Robinhood, Gemini, Solana Labs. Are you starting to connect the dots here? Anyways, it goes, the AIC will serve as an important resource for cutting-edge innovation in the derivatives and commodity markets. The committee will help the commission keep pace with how breakthrough innovations such as AI and blockchain technologies are transforming markets, enabling the agency to develop adaptive regulations and maintain robust financial oversight in a world where change is constant. America is home to the most transparent and well-regulated financial markets in the world, but we cannot assume that this will always be the case. By bringing together participants from every corner of the marketplace, the AIC will be a major asset for the Commission as we work to modernize our rules and regulations for the innovations of today and tomorrow. Insane. Okay, so being generous here, being extremely generous here, we could say maybe 3 of these companies or representatives from these companies are even somewhat Bitcoin. And that's a stretch. I'm stretching here. And that would be like Coinbase, which is the biggest shitcoin casino. They've been enemies to Bitcoin. We have Kraken. Kraken's been pretty good. Yes, they got shitcoins on their platform, but Kraken, I would argue, is an ally to Bitcoin. And then Gemini. They got Tyler Winklevoss. Now, you know, he's an early Bitcoin investor. Gemini is a great platform, but they also do shitcoin. Now, all this other stuff. Oh, I didn't even show you guys. Sorry. All this other stuff, like, honestly, it really is like a slap in the face. It's like we're just turning American markets into pure gambling. Like, it's crazy. Like, shitcoin casinos, shitcoin company representatives, literal betting sites, gambling websites. It's like we have just turned, well, rather, not yet. We will be turning the American markets into purely gambling. Everything is just going to be gambling, guys. This is the message I'm getting from this. CFTC is supposed to be, regulating the digital commodity space. And a lot of these companies are part of, shitcoin projects that I wouldn't consider a digital commodity. It's most likely just an equity. It's just nuts, guys. This is this is the golden age, guys, where everything is just gambling. We have just entered the casino, boys and girls. Bitcoin is simply being considered some kind of gamble. We are just at the casino. Though, if that Trump thing goes through where, no capital gains tax on gambling, I mean, hey, all right. Bitcoin's gambling at that point. Like, fuck it. Let's go, guys. But yeah, dude, this representation is atrocious. It's kind of nuts. I think it really shows what they think of Bitcoin and the quote unquote crypto industry at large. Now, of course, it is Bitcoin, and then there's everything else. But we are being lumped up into this idea of just like, it's just a casino, man. Just like, show up at the door, go hear the flashing lights and get inundated with blue lights and hear the noise and go get drunk and hit the buffet. It's like, we've really gotten to end of empire type vibes here, where everything is just gambling. It's just all a casino. It's a free for all. Just get what you can from it. Come in, get as much as you can, squeeze as much out of the casino as possible before you lose your shirt and your house and your wife, because the American economy is most likely going to be turned into just one giant casino. I'm being reminded of Idiocracy. We are now living in a casino, boys. It is all a giant casino. Yeah, dude. Me either, bro. Me either, man. Yes, no crying in the casino. Vegas going global, dude. For real, bro. It's literally nuts. Like, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but when I see all those representatives from all of these shitcoin companies going to the CFTC to be a part of the innovation advisory committee, it's like, holy shit. We've just gone full Weimar acceleration list. Dude, let's hyperinflate the currency away. Let's just all go to the casino. Just get what we can out of it, because this is the incentives that I'm most likely seeing is going to happen. We have just turned the world into a giant casino, because that's what's going to happen. If the U.S. passes regulations that, we're not really happy with, that really makes everything a casino, every other country in the world is going to make theirs follow out us in the U.S. And now the world's just one giant casino, guys. Just, get in, get what you can, and get out of the casino. No crying in the casino, guys. It's nuts, man. It is literally absolutely. Wow, that escalated quickly. We are all cooked. It's so true, guys. Look, I've been saying this for a minute. Oh, what's going on? There we go. I'll be honest. At first, I was hopeful, maybe naively hopeful, that these regulations, regulatory clarity would be a good thing for Bitcoin. Nico still holds out hope that, like, as long as self-custody is protected, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's better than nothing. As this process has gone along more, I'm starting to realize it's most likely not going to be good for Bitcoin. It might be good for shitcoins. Obviously, we're seeing the fight with the Clarity Act. The banks have basically co-opted it. They're most likely in control of this. I don't think regulations, as we've seen so far, and the direction that it's going is going to be beneficial for anyone except for, you know, those that own the casino. This is just fiat. This is fiat money on steroids. Late empire vibes where the people in power just robbing the coffers for everything it's got. Let's just turn it all into a casino. Let's get it over with. If you own the house, you're going to get rich. It is tough. It is pretty bleak, to say the least. But hey, it's Monday. I'm not going to Roaring 20s return. Dude, for reals. All right, boys. All right, what year is it? 2026. What year is it? 2026. Okay. Hey, you know, 100 years ago, what happened in 29? We got 3 years, boys. We got 3 years to get as much out of the casino as possible. Because maybe we're deep in the Roaring 20s. Maybe that was the Roaring 20s, and we see at the end of this decade something very similar happened to what happened in 1929, bro. The new Roaring 20s, same as the old ones, just 100 years later. Have fun, get drunk, go to the casino, party all the time. And then at the end of the decade, the Greatest Depression. Because now it's completely going to happen everywhere. No, guys, look. It's Monday. I'm not black-pilled today. I'm actually more hurting from the gym than being mentally black-pilled. But am I reading into this? Like, I think we're in the Roaring 20s. They're going to just legalize gambling, let the casino run. Anyways, as you guys know, you guys have asked for it. We're going into the meme review. But before I do that, I do got to give a shout out to our boys over at Bitcoin Magazine. We are going to Vegas for Las Vegas 2026, April 27th and 29th at the Venetian. Pretty sure the whole Simply Bitcoin crew will be there. We're still kind of figuring out what we're going to do, but I'm almost positive the whole team will be there. So if you want to come hang out with the whole team, me, Nico, Rustin, Dante, the whole Simply Bitcoin crew, those in front of the camera and behind the camera, we will be in Vegas, April 27th to 29th. Get yourself a ticket now because the prices will go up. And if you use a promo code Simply, you will get 10% off. Okay, guys, on that note, meme review is back. It is Meme Review Monday. Ask and ye shall receive. Last break of the show.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technologies. Fueled by clean energy, HIVE has quadrupled its global Bitcoin mining footprint and channels that same scale into high performance compute, where their AI cloud is now ranked #1 in the world for network performance. At HIVE, you've got dual engines, Bitcoin and AI humming, roaring, accelerating in unison. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable digital infrastructure. You can catch the latest buzz at Hive Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com.
Alrighty then, guys. So if you're newer to the channel, we used to do this thing called the meme review, where at the end of every show, I would cover the best memes that I saw on Twitter, either that day, and then I moved it to that week. And you guys have been yelling at me about it. You're like, Opti, bring back the meme review. Ever since you dropped the meme review, we've been in a sideways bear market. That was the top. Opti dropping the meme review was a top signal. Well, that's not exactly what happened, guys. And I've had this argument with you guys in the chat, so I'm not going to rehash this. But anyways, Monday meme review. As we used to say, tweets are the bullets, memes are the artillery. We are in an information war. And the reason that memes have power is because you have to distill truth in them for them to propagate, for them to spread. If they're not funny, if they're not truthful, then the meme dies. The meme doesn't go anywhere. And this is the power of memes. You obviously know about memes. You probably send memes to your friends and your family. I literally only speak in memes. I only talk to my friends in memes. I literally just send memes all day to my friends. Anyways, these memes I was going to put these on Friday, so I do have some from Friday. So maybe I'm, a couple of days late on these, but let's keep that in context. Some of these were supposed to be talking about the things we were talking about on on last week. Here's my first one. This one, I think, is the general sentiment that everyone is feeling in every market. And this is looks like a shitcoiner. Solonix. I'm guessing he's a shitcoiner. But he's got a picture here of Trump in like a Buddha meditating position, and he's got the markets behind it, and he's got some incense, and he goes, "My dearest Mr. President, just one more bull run. I promise to take the profit right after the screenshot." I think we're all, shouts out to my friends in the chat that called the top. They're Bitcoiners, but they're like, dude, I'm selling a little out. I'm going to buy lower. Look, hey, you were right. All right. I don't do that. Maybe I should have done that. But to me, selling your Bitcoin just feels blasphemous. Okay. But I am on this tip. I'm like, yo, Mr. President, please pump our bags. Just one more bull run, man. Just give us another bull run. And I'll think about taking profits. I'll think about maybe, securing something in just so I can live. I'm not selling my whole bags. I'm just saying, life's getting expensive. I got to pay rent. You know how it goes, guys. Come on. It's not that crazy. Anyways, this next one, I love the Joker movie. And here you have Robert De Niro. When the Joker goes on the interview on the TV, and this one is a play on that because of what we saw last Thursday, I believe it was, when Pam Bondi was getting scorched, and she is like, basically, hey, don't look at the biggest scandal in the world. We should be looking at these record numbers in the stock markets. And then literally the day after, the stock markets just kind of tank. And so we have Robert De Niro, and he does, you're laughing? The Dow just fell below $50,000 and you're laughing? It's over, bros. Remember, if it's above $50,000, we don't have to talk about anything in those files. But now that it's below $50,000, I guess we just laugh and we can talk about it. I don't know how the rules work. I don't know how the rules work. If it's over 50, if the Dow's over 50,000, do we not talk about the stuff that's happening in the world? But if it's under 50,000, do we have a right to talk about them? I don't know. I'm confused about the rules here. Now, doubling down on this one, same format, sort of. We have Trump yelling. It looks like he's yelling at a little kid, mowing the lawn. And he goes, did you know the Dow is at 50,000? Now, this one is meta. I like this one because this one is super meta. Because from someone that is young, under 40, basically, from a younger demographic perspective, this is really what that idea feels like. It's like most of my friends don't own the Dow. Most of my friends don't own the S&P 500. They don't own NASDAQ. They don't have 401ks. And what is the administration telling us? It's like, hey, we have the best economy ever. Look at the stock market. You guys are getting richer. And if you don't own those stocks, well, hey, shut up and don't talk about the things that are making us look bad. I think that's the message that a lot of young people are getting. So if they don't figure this out, and now I don't know if you saw the whole Alex Jones stuff over the weekend. He was going really hard, like they fully unredacted the bios, and so Alex Jones has been going super hard on this. He's saying they're finally doing, what I told them to do. Now I said it when that story happened, is like, if this is the hill that they metaphorically want to die on, the midterms are cooked. The younger generations are completely tuning out. I think this is the lowest the Republican approval ratings have been since Trump got elected. It's not looking good. The only thing that they can really do to save themselves is basically just fully release the files, unredact them. But what did they say? If we do that, we're going to crash the stock market. We're going to crash the economy, because it seems like a lot of the people that are in these elite positions are named in the files. This honestly, this is a meta one. Like all this young people, we're just getting yelled at by the boomers. It's like, stocks are going really high. Don't worry about that. This is what we should be talking about. And we're over here just mowing lawns for pennies. Don't have retirement accounts. We're just trying to get by. We're eating ramen over here. I thought you were going to pump our bags, bro. I thought we were going to see 150K Bitcoin early in this presidency. This golden age low-key kind of sucks. Bitcoin is at 68K. I thought we were going higher, man. All right. Anyway. All right. Enough blackpilling. All right. This next one, this one's funny. I'm not going to play because there's like I don't know if this is copyright. But this guy Kuno goes, this is too real. It goes, them get into crypto. Trump is pro crypto and is going to take it places. The place I was taking. It's like an anime, an anime girl, and she steps through this door at the lake, and the door opens up to McDonald's. All right, guys, we're all working at McDonald's. We're unemployable. I thought we were going to the moon. Turns out I'm broke, and McDonald's won't even hire me anymore. So the places we have gone so far is we are all working at McDonald's. Okay. Now, this next one, shout out to Robin Sayer. Because I did say this last week. This is kind of my vibe right now. Just his tweet. Robin Sayer goes, I hope we're retesting 30K Bitcoin price. Let's just wash out all leverage traders and goons in Bitcoin. And we have Bitcoin, it was 100K, 90K, skipped 80 and 70K, is knocking on the 60K door. And all his hodlers like, bro, please just stop. All right, bro, just can you stop? Can you go back up? Like, what are we doing here? Hey, market makers, can you stop? Hey, CZ, can you stop dumping on us, bro? Can you stop telling us you're going to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin and you dump on our heads? Like, yo, come on. Hey, bro. Hey, between bros, can you stop dumping on us? Can we make this number go up again? Remember when Bitcoin went up? That was fun. But anyways, I am kind of with Robin Sayer. I don't know about the 30K price. That's just crazy talk, in my opinion. Crazy talk. But if it did, we could pick up some cheap sats. But really what I'm saying is like, let's look, if we're going to dump, can we just get it over with? Can we just like hit that number instead of this like slow drain, this just like painful nothingness, this painful void of nothing ever happening. Can we just like get to the bottom? Maybe we're at the bottom. Maybe the 6K was the bottom, but like if we're going to dump more, can we just like get it over with so that we can, get some cheap sats and we can look forward to where it's going to go versus this uncertainty of where we are, like where are we going, what's going on. Just get it over with, man. Come on. It's just like, make it happen. Now, this last one, really sums up everything that we are as Bitcoiners. So shouts out to Cluckies. And here's a picture of Homer, with some glasses and a hoodie, drinking some, I think, pink juice, drinking some fruit punch, just chilling. He goes, me during every Bitcoin crash, knowing it's all going to be fine. This just sums up what it means to be a Bitcoiner. If you know where Bitcoin is headed, the short-term price movements, it is what it is. That's why we always call Bitcoin on discount when it's not at all-time high. This is why yes, you want your wealth to go up, your purchasing power to increase, but in reality, where Bitcoin is going. So as long as you're not all in, as long as you're not using rent money, grocery store money to buy Bitcoin, as long as you're not using the money you need to pay for bills, you're going to be chill. You're just like, hey, man, Bitcoin is cheaper. I guess I got to lower my time preference. I thought it was going to go higher this year. I guess it's going to be next year. All right. Okay. Whatever. I guess this year we're just locking in. We're working hard, getting our cash flow up. making sure I can buy some Bitcoin at the end of the month or end of the week or whatever works with you. But we're just chilling. We know what's going to happen, boys and girls. We know what is going to happen. All righty then. Oh, wait, meme review score. Meme review score. I will. Hey, look, I'll do a couple meme review scores. All right. So drop a meme review score. It's been a minute. And to be fair, guys, if you want more meme reviews, you gotta tag me in some banger ass memes. The memes have been pretty pitiful. Okay. That's the real reason why I stopped the meme reviews, because the memes have been trash. Okay, meme review score. So we used to do a number, 1 through 10, 0 through 10. And then the meme review score is a meme. So I have this super cocoa candy. I think, I don't even know what it is. I think it's like caramel. I think they're like caramel. Should I eat it? Yeah, it's like caramel. Oh, coconut. It's a coconut thing. I forgot. Okay. It's a coconut candy. All right. Oh, I should have known. It's super cocoa. Okay, coconut candy. All right. We'll do a couple. Let's see. Are any of the people still in here? Let's see. Are any of the OGs in here? Gonna do a meme review score. Meme review score. Let's see. Damn, bros. We don't even got anyone in the chat doing meme review score. The scores are the only part that suck. All right, bet. The market has spoken. All right, guys. All right. Well, it's a Monday show. We will obviously be back. Everyone's left. Sorry. Yo, Intra Belden gets it. See, that's what I'm saying. This is the real reason why the meme review left. Because everyone left. All right, guys. All right, guys. We'll be back, obviously, for the rest of the week. I think Nico will be back with me for most part of this week. On that note, it's your boy Opti. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Get outside, get some sun, call your loved ones, eat some good food, get a workout in, get your 10K steps in. We are 10K step maxing. We are locking in. You got to eat good. You got to walk. You got to work out. You got to get some sun. Got to get your money up. That's the 5 things you need to do. That is Opti's prescription for a better life. All right. On that note, peace out. I will see you all tomorrow.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.